What's up, everyone?
And welcome to today's episode of Map Awareness.
Who are you?
I'm the new guy.
Oh. Today we're going to be talking about the whole G2A controversy,
The release of Kindred.
and then we're going to have a Worlds discussion.
So, let's get started.
Riot has banned G2A from sponsoring league teams after a startling listing on their site.
G2A has been selling third-party elo boosting services and high-ranked accounts.
Due to G2A's obvious slap in the face of Riot Games, Riot has asked teams associated with G2A to remove their logo from their merchandise.
Some of the teams include Cloud9, CLG, H2K, and Pain Gaming.
Banned elo boosters, huh?
Yeah.
Looks like you'll never hit Diamond.
You know, I'd respond to your joke, but if any of my plat friends saw me talking to a gold, I'm probably not going to hear the end of it. If you think this is all there is to the controversy, there's more.
Not only is G2A banned from the league scene, but according to Jason Bass,
Co-owner of Complexity Gaming,
G2A is not paying a lot of attention to their sponsored teams.
he stated, and I quote, "They are not in our title, but they definitely are not paying us or anyone else I know of and not communicating."
Looks like they need to G2 aim for a different scene.
That's not even remotely clever.
For those of you who live under a rock that's probably related to Malphite in some strange way, Kindred is about to be released.
Kindred marks the first ADC that's made for a role other than bot.
With Mordekaiser being reworked in the Juggernaut patch as the first bot lane APC, it's no mystery that Riot is trying to break the meta.
At this point, one can only wonder what Worlds is going to look like next year. Sona top? Vi support? Some sort of unreleased void monster in the jungle? What's happening?
Okay, relax. Riot can't let the game get that weird, can they? They can't, right?
And now for a discussion of the team of dreams that shocked the scene.
C9. So today what we're going to discuss is the comeback for C9 going from 7th place in NA to the first in their bracket in World Stage Worlds Girls Goes. What's it called? So today we're going to discuss how C9 became the dream team by going from 7th place in NA to being first place in the group stages. Coming into the gauntlet for C9, everyone was sort of expecting the opposite of what happened.
Gauntlet gave them the opportunity to just excel and end up in Worlds. And about Worlds, we should talk about Worlds.
All right, getting to Worlds. Everyone was saying that C9 was going to have trouble throughout this entire group stage, but
yeah, because they have, you know, AHQ, they have Fnatic.
And then they had...
People thought, in seeing the brackets, they thought, rest in peace, C9.
Yeah, that was the actual group that everyone anticipated for them to be bottom,
yeah.
like maybe third, or
yeah.
second or third.
Third at best.
Third at best, yeah.
Yeah. And that's just the anticipation because, again, C9 hasn't been doing that well.
Hot. But now, specifically getting into a little bit of gameplay talk, they did, you know, the typical C9, we're going to bring something out that you're not quite expecting.
Yeah, the surprise.
And Incarnation locked in with a Veigar. One of the things that was really interesting about this game was that though Veigar was such an important pick to the way the game played out, he didn't really carry. It wasn't really like a Veigar like one-shotting everyone and killing everyone. It was more like Veigar setting up and zoning, and also Gangplank helping out with the setting up and zoning, so that Sneaky could come in and show everyone what he has.
Yeah, which he did. I mean,
the zoning was amazing.
No offense to Sneaky, that was probably the only game where he showed up.
So far.
So far, yeah.
I mean, he
you know,
shows up, but this is the only game where he's
coming.
shown.
But the second they started sieging with this Veigar, they managed to push 2 towers in the same, like, 50 seconds.
Oh, yeah, because of Veigar.
Yeah.
That was when the Callista, and then
so
they get the first tower, and then they move on to the second tower, and then there's Braum, and he's just standing
way too close.
Perfect opportunity for Veigar to throw
0.5 seconds.
Bop, done.
0.5 seconds, he dies.
He just gets blown up.
But the thing that I wanted to touch on was, you noticed that in the first game, especially, balls just kind of got thrown to the wolves.
But when you're watching this and your expectation of the team, like, they're said to be so good that you expect, like, they'll figure out something. They'll find some way. But there was honestly, they were leaving no windows open. There was, if anything, it sounds strange because they were at a deficit, but it's like C9 didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't ahead, they didn't make, there was no opening. There was no path for them to get in, to come from behind, to hurt. Like, there's nothing they could have done.
Yeah.
It was overall, like, in a sense, it was a really clean shot calling game for C9.
Just like all of their games.
Yeah, good job, High.
All right, so game 2. Cloud9 goes against Invictus Gaming, and I think game 2 shows a startling behavior that started to form in not only Cloud9, but just about every team. Very few teams realize that right now it is the Juggernaut patch.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of teams are taking so much advantage of that as they should.
In this game especially, you see that Balls just kind of gets thrown to the wind.
Once again.
Yeah, he gets first blooded.
Yeah.
And he gets killed by the Cacao gank.
Yep.
You know, and he gets killed really early, and then he just falls behind, and he keeps falling behind to Zatai's Gnar.
I think at 8 minutes he had 22 CS.
Yeah.
That is just absurd.
Yeah,
for
22 CS. Yeah,
that's like me.
Obviously,
that's literally me.
Yeah, obviously there was like external circumstances that kept him down.
Why, however.
But what was it? I think later on in the game, he was. I think up till when he was at 70 CS, Zatai had 2 times as much CS
like
as him the entire time. And it's just Darius is such a powerful champion. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, we have Incarnation in the mid lane choosing Azir, and as we all know, Azir kind of carries games.
Yeah.
And you see these games, you know, you see the Sneaky go 6-0 in the first game. You know, we'll talk about this in a bit, but you see Darius go incredibly positive in the next game, you know, game 3. But you never really see Incarnation take off, but it doesn't matter because he's normally out damaging everyone on his team.
He's like the opposite of Santorin.
Oh, that's mean. Oh.
Anyways.
What people don't realize is that Incarnation is doing so much damage in all of these fights just because he keeps getting this Azir pick that it doesn't matter. Sure, he got outplayed by Rookie in the mid lane just by himself. He got killed.
Yeah, got solo killed.
Yeah, he got solo killed by Rookie. That it doesn't really matter because you're Azir.
Balls plays
Bard's
like
gone.
the definition of fight until you die in this game. He plays the definition of that in this game.
Yeah, because if you die in the team fight, you did as much damage as physically
possible.
possible.
Why would you run away as you're dying instead of attacking them as you're dying? So when your team comes in, it's like 10 times easier for them to clean up.
Yeah, you heard
have to set up for the cleanup crew.
You heard it here. Die in every team fight.
Always die in the team fight.
Even if you aren't low and you win the team fight, go stand by a tower, just die. Don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch. Once Balls gets, Balls, they don't put a lot of resources in him a lot of the time because they know that even though he might be very behind, he's going to catch up, and once he does, he will steamroll. Just like we were saying earlier about like Sneaky.
I feel...
He knows how to put his damage down the minute he has it.
Okay, I feel as if the one thing that was the worst part about this game is, to put it lightly, High didn't exist. There was a 60-second interval in which the top laner died, the mid laner died, and somebody in the bot lane died.
And High was nowhere to be found.
In none of them.
Maybe
not a single one of them. In the same 60 seconds, High just could not be bothered. I don't know, maybe Wraiths like, got buffed or something, and he was just fighting Wraiths the whole time. One thing I wanted to touch on in this game, what was his name? Kitties. His Bard was basically on C9's team.
It was a little bit detrimental to his own team, yes.
For example, when Darius Balls, when Balls got that good fight in, even though he was behind as Darius, the only reason he got to the back line is because Bard
wasn't zoning him.
Kitties, in an attempt to save himself, put a magical pathway through the wall, letting Balls follow him, kill him, and now be right behind the ADC. So, as much as I don't like to put pressure on a lot of players or talk bad about a lot of players, Kitties kind of like was a huge detriment in that game. It's just these exceptional calls that are just coming at random times somehow win them the game every time. Well, at least this weekend and throughout the entire gauntlet.
Yeah, no. C9, it used to, and then it didn't for a split, and then now it is again.
It's such a rare quality that High has, but the inability to tilt is going to be what leads NA out of the group stage.
I wouldn't be surprised if this carries them all the way. And for the last game that they played so far in the group stages was the C9 versus Fnatic game, which in my personal opinion was by far the most unexpected win. Not that I didn't believe in C9, but just that as so many teams have been talking about, even like CLG's Doublelift was saying that they are just gods. They're giants right now. They are on an entire other league.
Doublelift himself said, Doublelift said that they are just miles ahead of everyone.
He's probably not going to say that about just anybody because we all know how he is.
You know, Doublelift's kind of a cop.
Yeah, so this team was like the last team that we expected C9 to actually do so well against. And this game was one of the more fun ones to watch.
It was. And I can't tell. All right. One of the things that made it incredibly fun is because unlike the last 2 games,
We paid attention to balls.
Yeah, balls was not thrown away.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of resources.
What was it in like the first 3 kills? Balls had 2 of them and an assist on the last.
Yeah, which is so much more fun to watch because it's just like, pow,
dunk squad,
pow, dunk squad.
It's the best.
Which
thing
is so
ever.
funny because if you think about it, he did that against knockup. What's the knockup team called?
Oh yeah, it was the up smash.
The up smash group. Yeah, he did that. He down smashed the up smash group. But one of the reasons I think it didn't do well against Darius because in one of the situations in the game where this is one of the reasons why they won actually. I think it was the second Baron that they tried.
Oh, I remember this.
Because the first Baron, like we'll talk about the first one. The first one, C9 went for Rash Baron. You know, like what they do.
All right, I want to point out that not just in the first Baron, but in both Barons, I know I've been saying this a lot, but it was such an absurd call.
Yeah, no, it was out of the blue.
Fnatic was in
right there.
They
were literally
they were across
around
the wall.
buff, across the wall.
It was just like thinking about it as a civilian, as a not what's it called, ascended, as a not ascended consciousness. Seeing this, you're immediately like, oh man,
that was dumb.
One of the things that completely destroyed Fnatic's chances at winning was in one of the Baron fights. I think the Alistar comes in, he goes for the, you know, the combo, the WQ combo or whatever. He goes in, he lands the headbutt, and Huni ultis way too early. Yeah, and then Yasuo comes in and he only ults one person when initially, obviously, your goal is to ult as many people as you can. From the pulverize,
so because of this too early ult by Yasuo, the C9 takes this as an advantage to finish off the Baron and just steamroll the team. I mean, they got 3 kills on the enemy team, and they only died. 2 of them only died, so they had
got the Baron.
And they got the Baron, so they have this like massive gold lead. This was the game that I think, and of course you expect this because it is Fnatic at this point. This is the game that the enemy team had the closest opportunity in closing against C9.
Yeah, it was just a bloodbath.
Yeah, it was a bloody game.
It was just offense for offense. There was never like we gotta hide behind our tower. Like no, it was literally like. Everyone is gonna die, or nobody's gonna die.
Yeah, no,
it's just balls out.
They were all in. Balls in, actually.
Oh, balls did go really hard though.
Yeah, no, he did.
Because this was the pentakill game.
This was the pentakill game.
Where he comes in, finally, he gets the attention of High. He comes in, he feeds this balls, and then balls just becomes this behemoth of a Darius. Team fight happens, and balls just dunking all day, like Michael Jordan. On the enemy team, because I know basketball. Did you guys know that Lemon Nation outdamaged Sneaky in that fight?
Yeah, really.
In that game. In that whole game, he outdamaged Sneaky.
He was Morgana.
Yeah, he just kept he kept dying for balls to push. But geez, Lemon Nation, everyone together. It doesn't matter if you die when you're on C9. What matters is that you listen, and if you listen, you win. Yeah. What are they calling it? They're calling it right now. They're calling it the Cinderella story. The Cinderella story. And that's what it is. Yeah, you guys remember in Cinderella?
When they lost a bunch of league games.
Yeah, and then she ended up beating Fnatic by herself.
Yeah, she was.
With the glass slippers, literally beating Fnatic to death. All right, well. All right, so how do I do this?
Okay, outro. Ready? Uh-huh. You have to be like, wrap up the subject and be like, okay, so really proud of C9, our own NA team coming from 7th place in the NA splits.
I should take notes on this. Give me a second. I got it.
You ready? Okay, so how we outros, so you have to like wrap up the subject being like, okay, it's so great to see.
Going a little fast. All right, wrap up subject.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so feel like, it's so wonderful to see our own NA team go from being 7th place to being in the top of their group stages at Worlds. Like, we're looking forward to see where they're going to lead us next and what other NA teams have in store for us.
Okay. Open-ended ending.
Yeah, open-ended ending.
Go on.
And then, at this point, we talk about sponsors.
Who are the sponsors?